Hi everyone. Yesterday, a district court in Saket handed out the death penalty to the 4 remaining rapists in the Nirbhaya case. There can be no doubt that one wanted extremely harsh and quick punishment for these rapists. Given the pace at which most cases move in India, including rape cases, this one has moved at a reassuringly fast pace. But there is a widespread glee with which the death penalty was received by people at large, including the media, which is deeply disturbing. Speaking for a large range of women activists, and certainly for myself, I believe that any civilized society can have no place for the death penalty. There are many issues surrounding the death penalty. There is an ethical and moral issue, there is the issue of efficacy, and there is the issue of human error. Insofar as the moral and ethical issue goes, if we believe that there should not be violence done to anybody's body, how can we accrue to ourselves or to any institution of a democratic society the right to take a life? There are women activists who have worked with women's issues on the ground who say categorically that even though the first impulse is one of revenge, many women, including those who have survived rape or beating or acid attacks, the first impulse is to want castration or for physical harm to be done to one's perpetrators. But after deep discussion, women's movements have come to the view that they neither want castration nor death. They believe that what you do not want done unto your own bodies should not be done onto anybody else's body. What we want is justice, not revenge. There is also the idea that death penalties create deterrence. There is absolutely no research or evidence to prove that the occasional death penalty creates deterrence. There is the possibility that in certain societies like perhaps Saudi Arabia or other extremist Islamic societies where death penalty is common or the stoning or cutting of hands is common, that it may create some degree of deterrence. But we must ask ourselves, do we want to become a society where this becomes commonplace? The whole issue of rape itself, the hierarchy of attention, is something that we must address. And I must make the point that this sentence has been handed out for death, for the murder of Nirbhaya, rather than the rape of Nirbhaya. But whatever be the case, whatever be the crime under which death penalty is handed out, let's look in this instance at the issue of rape itself. The incidence of rape is so widespread that only 20 or 30% of them are even reported. On top of that, there are only a few cases that catch media attention. They are as horrific rapes, for instance, that of Manorama in Manipur almost a decade ago, where she was shot by the army. Her vagina was shot through with bullets and she was gang raped and left for dead in a drain. There is in the Khairlanji episode, there is Bant Singh's daughter, where Bant Singh then lost both his arms and his legs because the upper caste beat him so badly for protesting against his daughter's rape. There are innumerable incidents. There are cases of rape in Chhattisgarh which do not catch media attention. Are we then to assume that only those deserve death where we have deigned to give our attention? There is also the issue that 70% of rapes happen within the family by fathers, brothers, uncles, neighbors, people who are known to you in some degree of intimacy. Will we want to string up and hang all of that, all of those people? What is the number of people we will kill before we have realized that killing does not help? There is a deeply disturbing trend building up in the judiciary. When earlier this year Ajmal Kasab and Afzal Guru were hanged, there was discussion about what comprises the rarest of rare clause under which death penalties should be handed out in India. I will just give you a couple of examples of how death penalties have been handed out and what judges have said. Earlier this year, a man who had raped his minor daughter and was in jail was let out on parole. On parole, he killed both his wife and the daughter. While looking at his death penalty that was handed out at the trial court, a higher court said he was not beyond mitigating circumstances and the possibility of reform, and so they let him off from death row. The same week, another court handed out death penalty to a man who had killed the male child of a couple, and he contemplated what terrible, grievous injury had been done to the parents to lose, and he mentioned specifically, their only male child. Now look at this. One man is let off for both raping his minor daughter and killing her, while another man is put to death or is given the death penalty because he killed someone's only male child and hence cuts off their lineage. What is the objective parameters in which both these judgments have been handed out? Another set of judges, while examining the rarest of rare clause, accepted that it had become too random and subjective. But the solution they came to was that when death penalties are handed out, judges must look at the public mood, at the degree of indignation, and what society feels about that particular crime. Now, this cannot get more subjective and disturbing. How is one to get or have a survey of what constitutes the will of the people? Are we only going to go with street noise? As if I, as a citizen of India, do not feel that somebody deserves a death penalty, how will I register my voice? How is the subjective will or the indignation of people going to be objectively garnered by judges when they give out particular death penalties? In the case of Afzal Guru, there were doubts about whether he was really involved or to what degree he was involved in the parliament attack. There are a whole lot of people in Kashmir who did not want his hanging. Is their feelings as citizens not commensurate with those who wanted the death penalty to be handed out to Guru? So the point I'm trying to make is that we are pushing ourselves, and this hallowed institution of the judiciary, which we believe to be objective and not governed by the whimsical will of people, we're pushing this down towards the idea of street justice. Finally, I'd like to come to the idea of society's own collusion in the range of crimes that is done. Very often, there is again a hierarchy of punishment that is handed out to those who are of the working classes and to those who are rich. Asaram Bapu, for instance, has been accused of rape and molestation and murder several times. Will the same people who are baying for the blood of Nirbhaya's rapists also bay for Asaram Bapu to be hanged? What then will happen to all the millions of devotees who believe that he has been falsely accused, even if courts convict him, and there's the possibility of mayhem if he is hanged? The point I'm trying to make is that there are circumstances in which crime proliferates. Of course, no society can abolish or do away with crime altogether, but we can focus our energies on creating circumstances, education, equity, equal access to justice and opportunity. It is better that we focus in those areas of social transformation than merely to kill and look away, feeling that we have been justified, our rage has been justifiably served, and that we have no further part to play in the creation of equal societies. None of this is to say or to take away from the horror of what happened to Nirbhaya. It is only to say, let's not take the quick route out. Let's look at what we do and how we are part of a great chain of being which allows such crimes to proliferate. Thanks for listening in.